Might as well just kind of hang out and talk for a little bit
Yeah.
and see what's going on.
Yeah, because I didn't get to talk to you guys on Saturday. We ended up going out to Karen made other plans since we were supposed to be gone, and the kids were not busy. So we went over to a brewery over in Port Clinton and had a good day over there. So that was fun.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we had Herman on.
Herman's always a good.
And we had our main subject of the war room last week was things to make war games easier for people to learn how to play. So we had a discussion on YouTubers and how game companies aren't really investing in full quality productions, like some games, like we compared them to say like Fantasy Flight, where you can get on, and they just released the new Descent 3rd edition. And they literally have like 1,000 videos out there on how to play, how to set it up, how to do everything. Why doesn't War Games do this? And is it up to the publisher? Is it up to the designer? Is it up to the developers? Who? I mean, right now the YouTubers are doing it for free, basically. Occasionally, they might get a kickback, a game sent to them and stuff. And Ruff, brought up some good points with trying to, there should be interaction between the game companies and YouTubers. And, there's a lot of good YouTubers that do things like Ruff does a really good job on his stuff. And, we mentioned Harsh Rules.
Yeah.
And Rob and Stuka Joe, and stuff like that. But they don't really get anything for their time, trouble, and effort. So they only put a little bit of time into it. And, with War Games being more complex, a lot of people, it's kind of what this circle of life, right? So I would love to get a game, but I don't know how to play it, so I don't want to buy it. So the game companies don't invest in having someone teach you the game on YouTube that much, which means that you don't get to see it, which means I don't buy it.
The
game companies spend some more time and effort into investing into things. We talked about rule books and how to include things and, how rule books should be written and stuff. So it was a really good discussion on.
Yeah, I definitely think, Lock and Load Publishing with Gimpy has kind of got a good thing going.
Yeah, we did mention them.
They did
doing all that stuff.
The reason why I actually bought Nevsky, so be prepared for an unboxing coming out on my channel probably tomorrow for Nevsky unboxing. The reason why I got it, I found a really good YouTube video that showed how to play it because I heard that it's difficult.
Exactly.
Well, I don't want to say it's difficult. It's just concepts that have not been used, at least in the wargaming side. I think some of the stuff is very similar to some of the Euros with more randomness with dice and stuff. And once you start playing it, I started watching, I'm like, oh, this makes absolute sense. But going through the rule book, I'm like, okay, I can understand why some people would have struggles with it. But as soon as I found that video, I'm like, oh, this is going on the list. And that was the reason for that. So, and I guess that's why when it comes to things like series, once you learn a series, I'm more apt to buy a game from that series, because I've already learned it and things like that. What are you doing?
Like the learning curve will be a lot easier once you.
Yeah. Because you're just looking at more module specific rules than anything else. So.
Right.
Are you going to be louder?
Guys, I know we got 5 viewers out there. If you guys want to just let us know in the chat if you can hear us okay and everything, we're just going to do just so happens Tony got his GMT package in, and I got a package in today. So we thought, well, instead of us individually doing unboxings, let's just go ahead and show you what we got together. So
I thought it was a good idea. I was like, well, we haven't done this. This is, I think, a first. a dual box opening. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. So I think this is a first for.
So let's compare packages.
Okay, yeah.
Here's mine.
This is mine. Well, you caught me like probably 3 hours after I did my filming.
Right. You already actually unboxed your box. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and unbox mine, and then we'll do.
Yeah, because we don't know what it is. And I'm kind of curious with that.
Yeah, because hey, Big Clue, what's going on? Who gets
the better Xmas present? I love it. That's great.
Well, this let me tell you, there's a story behind this. Actually, there is everyone. This package is actually came from a good friend of our channels. You know him. Everyone knows him in the wargaming community. He saw that I was doing some stuff on a certain game system and said, hey, I've got some stuff. If you're interested, I can send it to you. I've got some stuff I'm not using. And I'm like, sure, that'd be awesome.
Big Clue says he knows it's not a strap package because it arrived on time.
Exactly. So, and I told Tony he'd be really interested to see what this is. Oh, wow. So I don't want to spoil it and tell you who sent it to me. But yet, I will, of course, tell you here in a second. But
yeah. Those are ATS counters.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, I got that module. Awesome. Yeah. That's a good module too. That's a really good module. Oh, I have to get the original some point.
Right. Oops, upside down.
Okay.
I think this is like one of the module.
Yeah.
Arvani Salvo.
Yep. It's one of the older ones, but definitely, that's a nice thing about ATS is you can go Snake's Head
Ridge.
Mm-hmm. They recently released a bigger package that includes that. Let's see. I may be able to guess who it is.
Some more counters. Sure, if you want to try and guess.
I'm betting it's nice. The basic game 1A. Nice. Yeah. Does he wear a robe?
He does. Actually wear a robe.
Yes. Omaha. I like that module.
Wow, this is like
old map.
Wow, and I mean, wow, this is awesome. Yes, our good friend Wardy Robe plays World War II. Actually sent me all this wonderful stuff, and I appreciate it so much. Oh, look, even these counters are equipped. Look at that, awesome.
Oh yeah, you'll get good. Yeah, it was his makeup for your day of was it Day of Days or which one was it? The Greatest Day?
No, it was The Greatest Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was actually going to send it to me, and then he ran out of money in his budget. So I told him I would pay for the shipping and stuff. So I'm going to send him some money back for everything. Oh my God, there's just a ton of stuff here.
Yeah, those box modules are really, really nice. Really
Scenarios and rules.
Yes, that's all advanced Rook system. Yes.
Yes, it is all part of the 18th set. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite tactical system. We have a live play. Well, not a live play. Yep. we have a post play between me and Mitch Land coming up tomorrow. That's going to be released on the channel, on the ATSAV channel. I love the big counters because they fall out. The small ones don't.
Yeah.
You actually have to take a razor blade for those.
I know we talked about this, but we need to schedule a time where we can get together and play, and you guys can record it for your channel and stuff.
I was hoping.
I've been looking through the rules again, but it's one of these games where, I haven't played for a while, and I'm kind of rusty. I'd like to freshen up on all the rules I forgot about. I'm sure there's a lot. Yeah. So it looks like he just punched out the counters he needed for certain scenarios and stuff. So Wardy Robe plays World War II. Thank you so much. I'll be sending him some PayPal money here to pay for the cost of shipping and everything for him. He sent quite a bit of stuff. I didn't realize he had like tons and tons of stuff.
I bought quite a bit of stuff from him. So matter of fact, I think one of my Scottish Quarter copies, because I had 2 copies, I bought one from him. I know I bought one from him. So you actually might have the copy he sent me because it was already clipped. So you might actually have that. So that's funny.
Yeah, but I've been actually trying to get Wardrobe on for our
Saturday show.
For our Saturday show, we just haven't been able to. He was going to come on last week. I'd asked him if he could come on, and then he was going to get back with me, and he never. A couple days went by, and so I got a hold of Herman, and then Todd got back with me, and I said, "Well, I already scheduled Herman, but if you want to come on as a 4th, you can do that." He said, "No, I'll just come on another time." So these, I really appreciate Wardy Robe sending me all this ATF stuff. He knew I was a big ATS guy back in the day. I'd never had this one against all odds.
There's some great,
but I had Bloody Omaha, and I had both of the Bloody Omaha and the West and the East.
Okay, gotcha.
Maps, and then I had the Berlin. I had the core module, and I had a bunch of the expansion stuff, but it never made it to Florida, unfortunately.
Now you just got to get the 4.0 rules eventually.
Yeah, I think we will work on that, and then I'll have to hook up with you.
They're not much different, and I can run it through. Like if we're playing, the 3.0, they're not that much different. The basics,
right. I was rereading the 3.0 rules because that was what I was playing with.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, there's probably not much difference between these and the 4th edition.
Really, kind of the big difference is the.
How about a video from you guys on the difference the differences between version 3 and version 4?
That's actually. I know we did some other stuff, but that's actually on the list to do some more of that comparison. We didn't realize how much the possibility was. So,
okay. Yeah, Wardrobe, thank you, buddy. If you're watching this afterwards, I do appreciate it. I'll have to get with him about.
My daughter wanted to say hi to you.
Hi.
I was watching the stream like 2 minutes ago. I pulled it up.
She was one of our viewers.
Oh, she was one of our 10 viewers. That's nice.
But she wanted to say hi. She's like,
all your friends and tell them to get on so we can get more viewers.
Can you take him up? He needs to go out.
That's what I was doing. Ashley, come on, dude. Have a nice stream.
We
have to. She actually has agreed to do some videos with me, so I've got to make sure.
Oh, right. You're gonna play
Command and Colors. Yeah.
Command and Colors, right.
So I want to say it's going to slow down, but school started. So
what do you think? 3rd edition?
That might be 2nd, actually.
I was going to say it doesn't say on it what it. Maybe it says in the first page.
I think that might be 2nd. Hey, Viper Dave.
Viper Dave, another good friend of the channel, he sent me a bunch of stuff for my Lord of the Rings playthrough. He sent me a whole box, which is, you can see the box right here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow.
And it was so funny because you know, I got the core game and I decided, oh, I'm going to do it. And the first thing I was going to do was buy like some of the bigger expansion packs. I bought like the first 3 big box expansions.
Yeah.
And then there's, to go with each big box,
there's 6 little ones. Yeah.
Right. So when Viper Dave said, oh, I got some stuff, I'm not using it. Yeah, I'll send it to you. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. And so he sent it to me, and it actually worked out like our stuff fit together like a glove.
Oh,
he had all the little 6 expansions for all the big box editions that I bought. So it was like perfect. And it was like, wow, now I am like set up for the first, I think it was 3 or 4 boxes. So yeah.
Yeah. So I have a story to tell, and Mitch was a great guy. So Mitch is a great guy. He wants to grow ATS. So I was like, hey, I've got a scenario. I bought a couple modules that didn't have counters. They were just basically scenarios and maps. Said, I don't have any digging counters. Do you have some? And I figured he's like, yeah, I'll mail you some. So he mails them to me, and I get this box that is literally probably about the size of your box.
Yeah.
He sent me the entire Berlin and Führer's Bunker expansion.
Wow,
he had an extra copy.
So nice.
Yeah, so, and, me and Mitch have played a lot, so, I want to get you in on it, Jester, because I think you'll enjoy it, and it's, great storytelling, and it's just a great narrative. And you've played it, so it's not like you don't know what you're getting into, but I think that impulse system it shines. It really, really does. It's, again...
I kind of went over this story a little bit, maybe with you or maybe online or whatever it was, but I got into ATS and it was really, really cool. And then some people were like, oh, you should try ASL. And so I tried ASL. So I was playing like both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they're like basically the same system, they play completely different. It is so weird. It is so weird. I mean, the faces of the game and how you do things is kind of very similar, but the way, like, I find ATS way more bloodier. Like your units get wiped out left and right.
Mm-hmm.
When you're playing with ASL, it's more like they break, they run away, they come back, they break,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's interesting because I kind of had to think about how I want to describe it instead of bloody, because you take casualties. Hey, the OG's on.
Stop now. Stop the presses.
Yeah. By the way, our last podcast for the ATSFE was with the original Grognard, so you can get on Podbean or go to the ATSFE website. We talked about a Spanish Blue Division, that the module that he designed and created. So, and now I'm working on something. I was telling Jester before we started, I'm working on something for an ATS module as well. So we'll see how that works out. So, and it's all because of the OG. So I'm blaming it all on him. So
he's going to blame it all on him. And here's some of the counters he was still punched out there.
Yeah. You do have the small ones, you do have to take a razor blade to cut those out. They're really in there good. So, but you've got plenty out of it that you could easily.
But I'll probably go ahead and just do the rest of them. I hate like
partial.
I hate partials. I have to do it all. It has to feel complete. Right now it doesn't. But wow, this is just.
Yeah,
I remember, and you know how big these maps are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So I would send these maps with my wife to school, and she would laminate them for me. Oh my God, they were so good, all laminated, so they stayed flat mostly, and and the counters slid real nice on them.
Yeah. I don't have a big enough laminator. It's like I have a laminator at school, but it's not big enough for a lot of the bigger maps nowadays. So, and most of them do panels now, which kind of sucks. If you do the larger scenarios, it sucks. But when you do the smaller ones and you only need like 1 or 2, it's great because you don't have this huge map set up for this, like this little bit. So I want to do a small scenario on oh, RJL.
Oh, I tell you.
But Utah Beach, that's what I was thinking. So there's a couple small scenarios in Utah Beach that I want to do. A couple beach landings and then a couple like inland scenarios. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to get all my counters organized and clipped because once I get the modules, if they have counters, I pull them out and I put them in a different bag, so I can, when I'm clipping counters, I just grab a sheet, grab a plano box, and just start going at it and organizing it. So I've got my Americans. At least my American personnel is all done. So that makes it a little easier. And a couple of the scenarios, I don't need the large weapons or anything like that. So
What do you got? Ooh. So I came that close to getting that one.
Oh, really?
2 players.
Well, let's see if you're gonna regret it.
It could solo pretty good, I'm thinking.
Not just that, but I think it's a card-driven game like you like, so I think that's the other thing. So you were talking about, so one of the things I've actually found is, and I may do this with this game if there's not a lot out there, you have the like this is the extended example of play of actually videoing it, so it's easier to learn because sometimes people read stuff and it just doesn't connect from here to the board. And that's what happened with Comancheria. Once I watched Joel's videos of his own example of play, I'm like, this game's, well, the mechanics are easy. I don't want to say the game's easy because my live copy that I was just kind of playing on the side with the actual components, I miserably messed up. And like, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to put this away because I'm going to play something else and I'll just keep going with my other game. But yeah, it just seems to it clicked like right away. So okay, so we
talked about that. Not to interrupt, but we talked about that specifically on how the game companies go through the time, trouble, and effort to put a playthrough, a learning playthrough where they go through step by step in the rule book, but they don't put it online for anyone. And how much better would be to actually have somebody see it in action, hearing someone talk about it. I talked about how I did the Dark Summer. I went through and did their little playthrough in it. And, I'm just some Yahoo, I figured I was just going to do it. But if they had like somebody that knew what they were doing and how to do it and did it like professional quality, then people would watch it and they get a lot more interested in buying the game. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I totally agree with that because I like watching Stuka Joe because he does that usually with a lot of his games. He just plays the example just to kind of get people to see it because I think he realizes how much easier it is to learn when you actually see it being played. So I know Stuka does a great job with that when he does that. And he actually just did it with the Brotherhood and Unity, the Unity and Brotherhood, the Bosnia-Herzegovina game. And like I've been looking at it just because the topic really interests me because I was in high school and I remember all the stuff from the 90s and all that time period. So I'm very interested. And I have an interest in Eastern Europe anyways, the Romania, Yugoslavia area and stuff like that. So, but these counters look pretty good. They're large. So I'm just kind of showing you guys the counters here. And hey, these are going to be easy to punch too. And let's see, we got 2-player raids, same thing, sequence of play, and then the kind of the battle. Now, I love the fact that I can record this and not have to put plexi on it. Oh my God. I'll get to that in a minute. That's a shocker there. Are you kidding me? Hey, check this out. You're gonna regret this. So I gotta show this. So these are terror-sized cards.
Ooh. Wow.
Look what they sent with it.
Oh, they put in sleeves. Interesting.
Card sleeves.
That's not, first of all, it's not normal for game companies to do that, especially when the cards are not just standard size cards.
Yeah. Yeah. The artwork is
yeah, that's nice.
What is it? Veni Vidi Vici. I don't speak Latin, but it's I came, I saw, I conquered. I was like, that's some nice artwork on that. We got some dice. And this nice.
Well, like I said, I came that close to picking that one up. It was in my cart at one point, and I thought, you know what? I got a lot of stuff, and I don't know if this might be one of these things. What puts you over the edge on getting
the topic? I love Rome and Gaul. I love that conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how one is, I think the Roman Empire was just, I don't know what it is. It's just I like the Druid side. I'm more on the Celtic side of things, like how they actually, they were conquered, but yet they were still, a lot of them still kept a lot of their beliefs. Like Rome, basically, if you paid their taxes, you could do whatever. You could keep your king, you could keep whatever you have going on as long as you paid Rome. Like it wasn't like they were trying to culturally change everything. They just wanted the money and the resources out of it. And so I think it's interesting, and just the characters and everything like that really, really interests me. So nice mounted board.
Oh yeah.
So good. Not too big either. I mean, you could easily fit this on your desk with no problem.
Yeah, I think this might be one I might be disappointed I didn't get.
Yeah, I don't think it was that much. So, I mean, the quality is just phenomenal.
Damn. So, yeah, I mean, I looked at that when that was on the pre-order list. I was going to pre-order it, and then I decided, well, I'm just going to let that go. And then I had my second chance at it, and then I think what happened, I was so frustrated with what was going on that day with keep taking things out of my card. I was just so mad. I was like, well, screw it then. I'm not going to get anything. And I closed it. And then later on, I calmed down and went back in.
You work in IT, this is that's like Black Friday,
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that Mitch was telling me that the bandwidth was fine. Everything was fine except for the CPU itself. I mean, that was where the issue was. Like, that's usually not the problem. Usually the CPU is over, clocked for all that stuff. But the fact that they give you card sleeves,
right? Wow, that's impressive. I have to give GMT a thumbs up for that one.
Yes, definitely. That means this might have to move up on the list to get played. So.
That's funny because I thought you weren't ordering any until you played 3. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, I've actually been playing quite a bit. Now, I've been ordering more than I should, but yeah, I've actually been playing quite a bit. So I've kept under my budget.
Who was it? Was that Heathwell that said that?
Yeah. He said play 3 and buy 1. I'm like, usually when I buy multiple because I spend my monthly budget. I've budgeted myself at least now.
Okay, so you do have some kind of a budget.
Yeah. When we went to a financial advisor and we're like, okay, Karen's like, what do you spend on games? I'm like, more than I'm going to admit to you, but I can change that. And actually now I just get stuff that I'm really, really interested in. I just don't get that looks good. I really do more research on them. The Nevsky is an example, pure and simple. It was the morning of the sale. I found a great video. I did my research. I'm like, okay, this is a topic. Also, if I like it, there's another one coming out. So of that campaign levy and campaign series. So, but that time period, like from kind of Rome through about 1400 or so, is really I'm really interested in. It's just like it's interesting because somebody and have you listened to Hardcore History, Dan Carlin's podcast?
No.
Oh, you'll like him. But it's called Hardcore History. And he was saying that a Roman army and the like a French, like Napoleon's army, once they got hand to hand, the Roman army would probably massacre the French. It's just the weapons getting to them. If they could survive that initial onslaught from the cannons and the musketry, that there wasn't much change, but going from the Napoleonics to World War I and World War II, there's no comparison. You can't even come. It won't even come close. But it's so interesting that you're talking a BC army and a early 1800s army are not that far off when it comes, because those archers are could be just as deadly and actually maybe more accurate than some of the musketry at a farther distance. Because some of those archers could really, rein in.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But now you go from archery or musketry where you can fire, a good soldier can fire, 3 or 4 times a minute, reloading a musket, to firing, multiple rounds per minute,
Right.
It's a big difference. But yeah, Big Clue, Carlin's World War I series is actually what got me onto him. It's Armageddon, and it really, I was teaching World War I, and that series just really interested me. He just finished up a great Pacific, and his podcasts are like 6 hours long.
Holy cow.
They get released about 2 or 3 a year.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, no, he goes into such detail with it that it's insane. It's amazing how much detail he goes into with that. So, but yeah, no, but the Nevsky thing, the artwork, somebody was complaining about the artwork. I loved the artwork. It had that.
Let me see the Nevsky. Where is it?
So the box is kind of funky.
Right. Yeah. That was the fun. I looked at that and I thought, wow, that seems a little weird, and so I never looked at it. So what is that one about?
Yeah, the topic is way weird, but like this is the map. It's another hard mounted map, but look at just like the detail on, and I go in my unboxing, I really get zoomed in on it, and the detail on the map is just phenomenal. I mean, the whole map is this big.
Huh.
And so it's a lot of like, you have to hire vassals and other lords and stuff like that. And the nice thing is, and I showed this also. So this is one of the vassals that you can hire, or one of the lords you can hire. Well, not this one, this is like the mini guy.
Naxlander. Oh, yeah.
They're the thick ones, like the really good cards.
Right.
So, and speaking of, so these are some of the command cards. I mean, the artwork on them, come on, focus, is just, I love the artwork. Now, the box is a little, I'll admit, the box art cover is a little funky.
It doesn't really do it justice, does it?
No, it doesn't. That's one of the key things. But again, this one has huge examples of play. They have a whole book on an example of play, which is over 15 pages. And I've read part of it, but it has the campaign synopsis, the individual lords that you can hire, their history. Like, it's almost like a history of this particular campaign. It's got all the notes, all the history. They have event cards, and they go through the event cards and why they chose to choose and what they did. And so it's just absolutely, it's like it's a learning. It's like you're learning the history as well.
Area game. What is it?
Yeah, it's point to point.
Oh, point to point. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll show you real quick. So if we, so these so that's a point, and you can only go along either the water, which is the white one, or the land trails.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's point to point. But what's interesting, they actually have a period called Rasputista. I know I misspelled it, but it's like the spring, and it's where it's all mud, and you can't use the brown. You have to use the waterways.
Right. Yeah.
So because you can't, so they actually did some. I mean, and everybody learned, including the Germans, that you can't fight in the spring in Russia. Because you can't get anywhere because it's so muddy.
Right.
You get kind of bogged down and stuff. So
makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that I was very happy with the quality in this one as well. I'm like, they're not over crazy expensive. Like sometimes when you get really good quality games, you pay for it like a little bit more than probably. But GMT has really stepped up lately on a lot of their game quality, I think, on the components.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that. But, I know another reason why I didn't get Caesar versus Gaul was because I had in my cart Under Falling Sky.
Oh, so that, yeah.
I thought, there's no sense in getting two games that basically do the same thing. But then that one got taken out of my cart along with Gandhi. And I never, it's a bummer.
So do you remember me getting the 80th Air Force or the 8th Air Force and the 20th, the solo games?
Yeah.
Well, the designer designer and developer of it, Bob, he watched my Comancheria video. And he's like, where can I get this? Well, it sold out on GMT, but he did find a copy of it someplace, so he can't wait to play it. But yeah, I mean, the quality of that game is phenomenal too. Like I generally don't have to worry about the quality when it comes to GMT now. Like it's not usually, and if they mess up, they cover it. They make up for that. And we've talked about that on our shows. Like they're one of the ones, like if they make a mistake, they're going to make good on it.
That's true. I think they are one of the better companies compared to a lot of them out there. I like the last couple games I got from Worthington, Tunisia Hold Fast, and the Battle of the Bulge game.
Yeah. 1944, right?
1944, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are really nice as well. I was really impressed with those. So far, GMT and Worthington up there compared to some of the others.
Who else has done some really good quality? I'm trying to think of who I've ordered them was like immensely. Like, unfortunately,
the Lock and Load stuff is usually pretty good. I mean, their stuff's been good for a while, so
yeah,
we should give them.
Once David took over, their quality just went insane. Like he doesn't want to put anything out that's subpar.
Right.
And I think it's just he doesn't want to have to pay for it to be replaced. He wants the job done right the first time, which I get.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of important, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but no, it's but like if you're gonna print out examples of play, why not have somebody film them?
Right. Especially somebody that knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah. The problem is I won't ask for you to always use the designer because sometimes the designers are not the best.
I would not recommend designers. I would recommend,
the developers are usually the ones that
pretty decent YouTuber.
Yeah.
I mean, I even talked about what's to prevent like GMT from hiring somebody, and putting them on staff, and they could create videos for all these games and do like little preview videos and stuff. Like, I mean it's I don't like to compare War Game Company with a non-war game company.
Yeah,
you're talking apples and oranges, right? But I mean,
you can take something from those though.
Fantasy Flight, right? Fantasy Flight was a nobody like 12 years ago. They had like one little booth at Origins at one point, and they were, nobody knew about them, and they grew up to be one of the big boys. And they didn't do it by just printing 1,000 copies of a game out and making, squat profit, and then doing the same thing again and making squat profit. It's my wholehearted opinion that I think there is probably a lot more people with the popularity and more game or popularity in gaming in general, that if wargaming companies want to evolve, they can get a lot of these Euro gamers and stuff to cross over into wargaming.
Honestly, that's where things like this, this could be a good crossover for a heavy Euro. I mean, really. Right. Because there's resource management in it, aka logistics. It's the same thing. You just call it something different. You have to have resources to move your armies. Well, you have to have resources to do a lot of, I need this much to build this thing. It's not much different than that. Yeah, you do have some dice and some randomness, which I know some of the Euro players don't like, but there's still that battle. There's like a battle board that you use, and you kind of have to adjust that. So, but half of it's the battle, half of it is the logistics and the campaigning and moving and figuring out where to move. And so games like this really hit that crossover really well. But it's funny because the video I found, he's a French guy, actually. He does both English and French versions of games. He has a mix of games that he does this with. So he takes the heavier games, and let's see. I don't like to use these, but this is complexity of 5. I kind of throw out complexity ratings anymore because it's whatever the designer wants to put. It's not like they don't have like an actual scale. It's very subjective. What's a 5 to one person is a 10 to another, depending on the game. Right. So
right.
But like he takes the heavier games. There's a lot to this, a lot of moving parts, and he really breaks it down. And I watched some of his other videos just to kind of get a feeling, and he does a really good job with them. And I saw this, and it was like no problem. Comancheria, Joel Toppin, who actually designed the game, actually did the video. But basically, all he did was read his scenario, his extended play. Right. And I was like, oh, because it shows the examples of how to do this stuff. He doesn't tell you how to play in the aspect of strategy wise. He may give you a few tips here and there, but that's part of the fun of the game, is figuring out some of those strategies on your own. It's like, oh, I can do this or I can do that,
Right.
And what he actually said is there's actually no set strategy for that game. You can kind of start with any of the cultures that there have. You can, go any route you want to go. You have certain victory conditions, but there's more than one way to get that victory condition. So it's kind of very, very interesting the way when he did that. And that's coming from the designer. And, our friend Mike Berticelli was a developer in that game. And so, he's very, very big on the game too. And I know when Joel did the Navajo Wars, he actually he was on the Navajo reservation at that time. He was a pastor at a church on a Navajo reservation, and he actually went to the Navajo elders and showed them the game, and they were impressed. They loved it. And so it's very, very interesting when you can actually do that type of thing. So, but he showed you the mechanics, and that's what I want to learn, is the mechanics. I want to play it I want to learn the strategies as I play, but I don't want to spend all my time figuring out the mechanics of the game and not
understand the sequence of play, how things are done, so that you can actually get in and play it, so you can learn the strategies and everything like that.
Yeah. Don't tell me
that's what we talked about. One of the comments was about how complex war games are compared to some of these other games, and I said, most wargames aren't that complex, to be honest. You're talking about units have supply. You're only going to do supply a couple ways. Units have zones of control. You're only going to do that, there's not really that complexity. How many units you can put in a stack, and then how complex is it to add up strength values and compare that to defensive values and get a number? It's not that complex, guys.
Nope.
Most wargaming is not that complex.
And once you've played one or two, you can pick those portions out pretty quick and easy. You're like, oh, movement. Oh, okay, I get it.
Right,
oh, supply.
right.
Okay, I get it. Once you kind of figure out what that game has, what they use, it's the chrome and the exceptions is where the complexity.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the biggest problems wargaming has is all the exceptions. This unit doesn't arrive until the 24th, but out of 1d6, if you roll a 1, then it shows up late, put it in the next box, blah, 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 because they want to be historically accurate,
Yeah, so.
But yeah, Big Coup said it exactly. So many war games use very similar mechanics, right? As many other war games,
Yeah, once you learn the basics of wargaming, learning a new war game, it may seem intimidating, but a lot of times once you start breaking it down into, okay, how do I move? How do I get supply? And how do I attack? Once you get those three things down, generally the exceptions kind of fill out for themselves, And so, yeah, my boss really wants me to push some of the gaming that I have, and I've got some seniors this year that I think I can do that with in some study halls. So I'm gonna try to pull out a couple of like little tank on tank, tank versus tank that David sent us. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that he wants me to do that. So Jack's here.
Hey Jack, how you doing, buddy?
Speaking of, he's got Final Fantasy. I was thinking Fantasy Flight. He's got Final Fantasy all over his yeah. So,
I think there's quite a few crossover games that I think, people that go, oh, this is kind of cool, they could get into more wargaming, but they don't, because usually, I mean, if we were to sit down and try to teach somebody, say, Time for Trumpets, it's not going to be a 10-minute thing, you're going to spend an hour or two, and after about 15 minutes, somebody's going to say, forget it, I'm not interested. I'm gone, I'm out of here, right?
Yeah.
So there's got to be other avenues to teach these people how to play other than trying to sit down with somebody and teach them something new. But there is a lot of really good crossover games. I think 1960, The Making of the President, is a really good crossover game that could get people interested in wargaming. It's more not really even a war game. That's more of a Euro type of game, but the Coin series, I guess, would be a really good.
To me, the Coin series is the quintessential crossover war Euro. I mean, it literally is. Everything looks. If I were to just show you the components of a coin game, not anything like, I won't really show them that, but give them. Okay, we got a mounted board. We have a bunch of cubes. We have some cards. That's the quintessential Euro right there, and I'm not going to deny it, and so, I honestly think that, and I think, what I think the one thing that will, and Ruff is maybe the way to go on, Ruff is probably right on this, that Mars coin game, I think that's a game, because it takes place in a sci-fi universe. I think it's going to be a huge crossover because they're going to be like, oh, what's this? And then they start looking at it and they're like realizing, because once you learn the mechanics of the coin and you realize this, the mechanics are the same no matter which game, look at the card, figure out who goes, like the basic mechanics. It's just, and even when you get to the point where you're learning each faction, a lot of it's the same. It's like,
especially the first 4 volumes. Alien Abyss, Distant Plane, Cuba Libre, and Fire in the Lake are very, 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 very similar.
That after that is when it starts to go different.
Yeah, a little bit weirder. Yeah, a little bit weirder.
Yeah, I mean, mine still is favorite.
One of my all-time favorites is here. Holy crap! Wow, Dale the Casual Gamer. Wow, I am honored to have him here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his channel.
No, I'm not actually.
He does awesome stuff on his channel.
I'll have to look into it then.
He does a lot of non-war game stuff.
Yeah.
But
I watch all the stuff. Yeah.
He does the Legends of Brimstone. He's done Clank. He does Marvel Champions. Where's my Marvel deck? I literally have my Marvel decks all ready to go, and I was just sorting those out earlier. Dale the Casual Gamer, go check out his channel. He's great. He's wonderful, to be honest. So and I send him questions all the time and ask him things and beg and plead for him to do certain videos, and so he does a really good job. So
it's just fun because us YouTubers are fans of other YouTubers, and we're like, hey, you should. And I'll be honest with you, I told Stuka Joe after he kind of did the the unboxing of Brotherhood and Unity, and I'm like, hey, can you do a CDG for this? Because I really want to play it. And he's like, I think it'll work. Let me give it a shot. It's conversations like that between other YouTubers. Like, okay, well, I'll do this, and then you do that, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, it's definitely fun to talk to other YouTubers, and yeah, definitely. It's a group that can be very fun to play with as well. You're like, oh yeah, this is cool. Let's do this. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
I will make the caveat. I do find the ones that are doing it as a hobby and doing it just for fun are a lot easier and a lot more fun to, banter with and talk to than the ones that are trying to make it out of their living. The ones that are keeping it their hobby, are so much, are a little bit more, I don't want to say friendly, but just, it's not a job. So it's fun still. So.
Right. Yeah, I've been busy doing lots of different things and everything, but the one thing I was actually gonna talk to Dale the Casual Gamer about was because I was looking at building different decks for all my different heroes and everything, and so the minimum is 40 cards, the maximum of 50 cards to build a Marvel Champion deck. So I was going to email Dale the Casual Gamer and see if we can get together sometime and talk about this, because my thought is it's better to have a 50-card deck than a 40-card deck, because you get punished every time you go through your deck, and the punishment can be pretty severe. So having those extra cards, you're definitely, I have not played a scenario yet where I haven't gone through my deck at least once. So some of those game mechanics are very interesting, and we talked about it with Herman Lutman on Saturday about how game mechanics from one system and how that can transform into a different system, and getting those non-war gamers interested in playing regular war games, because you're using some of the systems that they use in non-war gaming. Yeah, I know. The awesome Dale is here. I know. I'm like honored. I'm like, wow, I'm flabbergasted that he would even come to my little live stream. He's so big time. I don't understand why he's doing here with us little guys.
Yeah, well, and when we had Herman on the first time, when I actually was here, when I was actually there, we actually talked to him. He's like, all wargamer designers should play other games as well.
Right.
Because you can learn different mechanics, and most of the designers that I know do play. A lot of them play more role-playing games than they do, other games. But I know they all play different stuff. So yeah, or at least the ones that I'm friends with, the few designers that I'm friends with, they, so.
Well, I agree, but I think how I am always the the fly in the ointment. You know, it seems like I'm always the weird one out, right? But I'm telling you, my strategy, my things always work out in the long run, right? The difference between a 40 and 50 card deck is, you know, efficiency in getting the cards you want more often, which is true. And there's, you know, that's fine. But you're only getting to draw a card out of a 40 card deck, you have a 2.5% chance. To draw a card out of a 50 card deck is 2% chance. So you're only getting a 0.5 percentage chance better of drawing a card that you need. And the punishment that you can get, and some of these cards can be brutal, can really cost you. So I think there's a whole discussion on that, to be honest. We
all are that way, Dale.
Yeah, I know. We're all like, wow, I can't believe I got like 3,000 subscribers. Who the hell's watching me?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wow, I can't believe you went down and did. I mean, it's not too hard to do the math, but yeah, it's like I wouldn't even thought about.
Here's a perfect example, right? If you want to see a perfect example, I'm going to since Dale's on here, right? I'm going to actually show him my perfect example, and let me share my screen with you guys here. Share video file. No, not video file. What am I doing? Share screen. There we go. Right. So the perfect example is go back and watch this episode right here. Marvel Champions, Captain America versus Ultron. Right. So that was on 3 days ago. So just a couple days ago. In that example, right, my punishment for so what happens is when you go through your deck, you have to draw another encounter card.
Okay.
And you know, some of them are pretty bad, some are okay, some, you know, some will bring in a minion or whatever. But there's, like, depending on who you're fighting up against, there's some really bad ones. But where is it? There is one card specifically that is like what I consider the worst card of all time. And that is called Shadows of the Past, right? So this basically every hero in the system has 5 cards that are like your nemesis. So Spider-Man, you know, has his nemesis. Captain America has his nemesis, which are Madam Hydra and her little minions and stuff. So the extra card that I got for going through my deck was Shadows of the Past, which then put all those minions into play. And I'm thinking, I don't want all those minions into play. I don't need all these minions into play. This is just going to make it super hard. If I would have had a 50 card deck instead of a 40 card deck, I wouldn't have had that problem.
Okay, I got another question for you, and I'm going to have to cut out soon because I've got to be up early. I got to teach some Yahoos tomorrow. You played the Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is by far one of my favorite card games, and I actually got downloaded. What did you think? Did you played the card game, or did you just go with the digital version? And what did you think?
Well, let me tell you, my friend, I love me Sentinels of the Multiverse. I love me. In fact, you're going to be seeing a big old unboxing of Sentinels of the Multiverse. So
I would go get my collection, but I might break my back because I got the huge when Oblivion came out, the last one I got. Right. So I have all of the cards, and I got
all of the core game cards.
And I have a lot of.
Don't do what I did, okay? I watched a video from the One Stop Co-op Shop.
Yeah.
And they did it, and he had mentioned that he was playing one of the heroes from the Cauldron. And I'm like, The Cauldron. I've never heard of that, so I looked it up. Well, the Cauldron is a group of people that started making side characters for it.
Okay.
And they got so good at it that the Greater Than Games basically hired these guys to put this stuff out. And if you go to like drive-through cards, you can order like.
Are you serious?
Another.
I'm not going to.
150 characters, and
I'm not going to do that. I love that game. I absolutely love that game. It was one of the first games that I learned how to play solo on my own because it's a co-op, and just the creativity. I remember going on the website and saying, please do not submit character ideas because if we come up with something similar, we don't want to have any legal issues. But they actually said, okay, I know they're no longer doing the card game anymore. That they're done with that. So
that's not true.
Okay.
They just kickstarted their, I think it was in March. They re-kickstarted, and what they're doing now is bringing out the second edition. So they're basically re-releasing everything with updated graphics.
Okay.
Kind of fine-tuning and balancing everything, and the same core mechanics, same. It's going to be the same characters and stuff, but a lot of the cards are going to be changed, and then they kind of streamlined it where, I guess, like when you look at the character, like if it has like at the start of a turn power, is going to be like highlighted in bold and green.
Okay, so you don't forget.
It stands out, so you can just look and say, "Oh, okay, this guy's
quality of life."
Quality of life, yes, exactly, yes. Okay. So
I was like, I saw that, I'm like, oh, I gotta ask him about that. And since we're kind of doing this, kind of just not really the war room, and that I was like, I gotta ask it. I literally love that game. It's just so fiddly with the cards. And moving the different points and stuff that sometimes it's a pain to get out. But when I downloaded the trial, and I was like, oh, I'm in trouble.
yeah. With all the different characters and all.
Yeah, it's like I don't even have to. Yeah, I'm like, why did I buy all that if they've got it? But I still like. I still like the tactile and stuff like that. It's still kind of fun. So.
Yeah. It's supposed to be here. He pre-ordered as well. So, they're calling it the definitive edition.
Okay.
So the two big problems everyone had with Sentinels was it was finicky and hard to manage, and they did some things for quality of life. So they released counters that you can actually sell, like when a character gets +1 damage, you put a counter on it. This is +1
I've got those.
Yeah,
I did get those.
And then the other thing is they're going to release like dials now instead of trying to use little hit point counters, because it was a pain in the ass trying to count 26.
Making change all the time. Yeah.
Right, making change all the time and all that. So they're going to release it with dials. And like I said, there are going to be some quality of life, some balancing and stuff like that. I mean, if you already own it, you don't need to upgrade.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
well, if they sell the dial separately, I might pick up like I would hope they would actually sell some of those smaller things.
But separately. I mean, like, to be honest, for like, I think the Kickstarter was like $56 or something like that, plus shipping, whatever that was, $10 or $12. But you get like 12 heroes, 6 nemesis, and like 6 environments. Yeah. So you get a ton of stuff for like $50. I mean,
that's pretty good. Yeah. I went through and I have, I think, all the core stuff finally. It was funny when I was buying it, the guy's like, oh, you got to get this. This is like this Marvel character. And the particular one he was talking was the Deadpool, like the Deadpool character.
Yes. The Deadpool character is called, gosh, I got it right on the tip of my tongue. What is his name?
I picture he's dressed almost exactly.
He's got like a little purple outfit.
Yeah.
Gosh, what's his name? Oh, I can see it. It's funny because he's got so one of the things they did with the definitive edition was they redid all the music. So they created like these songs now for each of the heroes has their own song, and his song is so funny. Just listening to it, it's funny.
Well, I've got to get going. So
yeah. Well, it's been a great time having.
Yeah, I'm glad you came up with it. So
I got my just so you know, Dale, right? I got all my. Let me just show you. Let me just show them over here. So I got all my Marvel Champion stuff. I got all the boxes. I got everything there. I got all my Aeon's End stuff right there. I got Thunderstone. I got Talisman, Mage Knight, Lord of the Rings, Small World, Arkham Horror, intermixed with all my other stuff. So you're just every time I see him do something on his channel, I have to go and buy something new. So you're costing me a lot of money. I'm going to have to unsubscribe, Dale. That's what I'm saying. So. But thank you for all you do. You do a great job. I love you. You're one of my favorites. So.
I will look into his channel for sure, and he'll get another subscriber out of it too. I guarantee it. Yep.
There you go. Well, Tony, I want to thank Wardrobe for sending me my ATS stuff and unboxing it, and we're gonna be sure to get together and do that sometime soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, sooner rather than later. And I'll talk to Mitch, and then maybe have Mitch join us while we play. And
maybe I can watch you and Mitch play. Yeah. I don't care if you guys want to play. Just let me know when you're going to do it, and I can just jump in on Vessel or whatever. So.
Yep, definitely sounds good. So, well, it was good to talk with you. I got to get going. Got Yahoos to do.
All right, guys. We'll see everyone later. Take care. Have a good night, guys.